So, hi Cancer, my name is Chris and this is your reading for 2026, and thank God it's the reading for 2026 because we have all been through 2025. And I don't know where you have been, but 2025 has been tough, right? There were a lot of freaky energies and yeah, they were kind of dragging us down. If you were a decent human being, if you were an empath especially, right? That was a heavy energy. Center of your Celtic cross for 2026 is the moon card, is subconscious energy. So working with your inner frequency seems to be very, very important here. In 2026, you're taking charge of your own frequency. Crossing energy, the Ace of Pentacles. So there seems to be a lot of potential for wealth, abundance, and prosperity in 2026. 2026, by the way, is going to be a much better year than 2025 and the last 7 years. By the way, these were kind of the winter years, Game of Thrones like, right? We had Pluto in Aquarius since 2008, and I don't need to talk about 2008. Everybody knows what happened. Financial crisis stuff was very, very tough, right? And then it's over, right? I think it's since November 2024 or 5, I'm not 100% sure. Pluto's in Aquarius, and Aquarius is much gentler. It's much more subconscious energy, it's much more emotions and intuitions, and it's not so freaking hard, right? Foundation, the World card. Wrapping something up, being just done with something, and this is a successful ending. This is a closure, graduation, you could also say. She's holding the insignia of the old circle, so to speak. And this old circle is over. And you're coming out of this with an awareness or with an insight that you and you alone are responsible for your own frequency. There are shady people everywhere. You might have met them, right? Narcissists everywhere. They always try to mindfuck you. They always try to lower your frequency, guilt, fear, shame, things like that, right? So you have to take responsibility for who you're exposing yourself to. Who are you calling a friend, right? Who are you letting near you? Who are you allowing into your energy field, right? Six of Pentacles, give and take. So if you have given a lot, or somebody has taken a lot, probably in 2025, 4, 3, whatever. The universe is balancing that out. The energies are balanced out, right? Six of Pentacles, if you have given a lot, if you had to give a lot or a lot was taken from you, you shall receive, right? And vice versa. If you have taken a lot in the last few years, it's time to give something. But I feel like people on this channel, people who resonate with this channel, are more on the empathic side than on the narcissistic side. So chances are that you might have given a lot or it was taken a lot from you, right? So there is wealth, abundance, and prosperity. There's an exchange of energies and material possessions. So there is a good start for you in 2026. To just even that out, right? The most important thing is to actually take this insignia, the lessons of the old circle. What did you learn in the last few years? Really make a list. If you feel like it, just take a piece of paper and write down, okay, what was disillusioned, right? What was disappointed? What was completely broken during the last few years, and what did you learn out of it? And the most important lesson that I learned in the last few years was to take responsibility of my own frequency. So not freak out, not catastrophize, not allowing my frequency to drop, but be mindful enough to realize when you're kind of sinking down in frequency with your subconsciousness or the consciousness in general, and just kind of pull yourself up by the bootstraps, right? Which is easier said than done, but you need a practice for that. The moon card here in the center talks about a practice. Meditation, breath work works perfectly, right? We have taken a lot of shit in the last few years. That's just how it is. 2025, if you are on the empathic side of personalities, right? It was tough. So there's a lot to release, right? Your subconsciousness is kind of flooded with negative energy. That's what they were throwing at us, that what they were trying to do, all these attacks, all these cognitive warfare. Can we say this on YouTube? Well, it was targeting not just the outer possessions and physicality or physical aspects, right? But most and foremost, they were targeting your consciousness, right? Guilt, fear, shame, anger, rage, hatred. That's where they want you, right? Because if you are in guilt, fear, shame, if you are in hatred, then you're buying into the dark side. It's like Yoda, right? Anger leads to the dark side, right? Hatred is the dark side. Guilt, fear, shame leads to the dark side. Lower frequency, you're buzzing on a low level, right? If you're in these frequencies. So the most important defense strategy is, that's your past energy, find a way to release it, right? 8 of Cups energy, give away what no longer is serving you. And one way to do this is by breath work, for example, right? So make it a daily practice, even if it's just 10 minutes or 5 minutes if you don't have the time. But I think you should have the time for 10 minutes at least, or whatever. Do half an hour. That's really, really good, right? But if you have never done it, it's okay to start with 5 minutes. Most importantly, it's important that you make it a habit, that you do it every day. Maybe even if you do it 5 minutes only, maybe you do it 2 or 3 times a day. You breathe in, right? And you breathe out 2 times the length that you are breathing in. So you breathe in 5 seconds, you're breathing out 10. There's an app for that, right? I'm not sure how it's called, but there are tons of apps, breathing apps, right? Where you can visualize the in-breath, and you can actually exactly choose the length of the in-breath, and so do 5 seconds in, 10 seconds out, 1 in, 2 out, and sit there, be aware of your posture, and just let it all out, right? You're breathing in light, right? And you're breathing out all of the darkness and all of these lower frequencies. And if you do this every day, I promise you, you're going to transform your consciousness just like that. Breath work, and if you can do meditation in addition to that, you're just you're transforming your life, right? You're transforming your consciousness, well, and you become so much more stable and grounded in whatever it is that you're doing, right? That's self-help and self-care and self-love in action. Make it a daily practice. Your consciousness, your subconsciousness in this regard is the most important thing. And if you are taking care, responsibility of the frequency of your subconsciousness, not guilt, fear, shame, not worrying, not catastrophizing, but literally, can I do something right now? No. Then stop worrying about stuff. Then use the time to push yourself up, right? To lift yourself up. And that's through breath work or meditation. Why? Because there's so much wealth, abundance, and prosperity here with the Ace of Pentacles. If you are grounded, if you are centered in your frequency, you're releasing all the bad stuff, all the traumatic experiences, all the shit that you had to take, right? Just release it, release it, release it, release it. The universe wants to give you something, right? So be open for that. So you kind of have to meet that blessing in frequency. If you're down there and always catastrophizing and thinking about, oh my God, what happened was so bad, blah, blah, blah. You know, misery likes company. And if you dwell on negative feelings, you're kind of amplifying these negative feelings. So you have to find a way to release it. That's the Eight of Cups. Working with your subconsciousness and oops. What comes next is basically the Knight of Cups, and that's a new spiritual journey. That's a new way of exploring joy and happiness for yourself. And I would say it's a new spiritual journey, right? And boy, oh boy, that's you. That's you in 2026. That's the Hierophant. That's the master. That's someone who learned a lesson, right? Spiritual lesson. And you're taking this cup, that's the new spiritual path basically, and you're becoming, in one way or another, someone who is either giving an example just by doing what you're doing, right? Or maybe you become a teacher of some sort, or a counselor, or somebody who has wisdom to offer and carry that wisdom into the world, right? For the benefit of people who are ready to receive it and who are worthy to receive it. Don't waste your energy, don't waste your good frequency on people who just are not worthy of it, right? Or who are not ready to receive it. Queen of Wands. There's a little fire energy. We had a lot of cups energy right here, pentacles energy, releasing the old emotional baggage, right? Releasing trauma. If you have PTSD, if you have complex PTSD, if you are traumatized, if you are went through narcissistic abuse in the last few years, chances are pretty high you went through. If you are a decent human being, rediscovering passion is a part here in the outside world, in the position of the outside world. So you are using your passion, but you're kind of using it privately almost. How do I say this? It's not the King of Wands. The King of Wands is pretty much going outward, right? And communicating and using his fire to do something directly in the world, basically. She's using her fire for herself, kind of in private, right? So whatever you're passionate about, you can make it real. You can crystallize it out. There's the fire aspect with the wand, and there's the sunflower, which is representing the earth. The black cat here, again, hinting towards your subconsciousness. So you're releasing emotional baggage and you're working with your passion, with what sparks your inner fire. Kind of keep it private, but you're working with that, right? You're manifesting something out. And the most important thing is to keep your inner frequency up. Or do not allow anybody to lower your frequency, and do not be complicit in lowering your frequency. And you feel like shit, right? Then just recognize that and do something else. Do not just sit there and think, oh my God, I feel like shit, right? No, you're working with that and you're going for a walk, you're talking to a friend, or you're just doing the breath work, right? 1 in, 2 out, and you just release all that baggage. And if you do that, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, actually, I do it for half an hour, and it's just, I do it before, I do usually a meditation or breath work before I do a reading, right? And that absolutely helps. Justice is coming in 2026. Justice, bottom of the deck, the King of Pentacles. So you're taking this potential here wealth, abundance, and prosperity, and you're making something out of it. But you need to be disciplined, because the shady people, the narcissists, the, can we just say, bipolar psychopaths that were kind of running the show in the last few years, they're not just going away, right? They still are here, right? And you're going to meet them, and you have to insulate yourself, not necessarily isolate yourself. Times of isolation, I think that's over in 2026, but you have learned something in that time of isolation, of constant attacks, of all sorts of shit going on and off in your life, right? You're coming out of the darkness, right? You're leaving it behind, and you're not, this is not a happy wanderer. He's leaving behind 8 cups, something that he was emotionally attached to, right? And you have to, maybe you had to leave behind people. Maybe you had to leave behind people who either abandoned you, or were toxic, or you realized, oh my God, they're actually really toxic. They're not playing on my team. So you had to leave something behind that your heart was connected to, and that usually is a traumatic situation, right? That's just not nice. That feels horrible. But you did it, and you have to do it, and you have to release this emotional baggage, breath work, meditation, and focus your consciousness, your mind, and your inner frequency on what it is that you want to create here. Put in the good work, and you're going to end up with the King of Pentacles, and underneath the King of Pentacles is the happy home, is joy, is fortune of the difficulty. And I talked so much about mindfucks and, you know, all that jazz. Look at that. That's 2026, right? You have to put in some work. That's the 8 of Pentacles. But the potential for wealth, abundance, and prosperity is here. There's the King of Pentacles, wealth, abundance, and prosperity. And this King of Pentacles guy, right? He's wearing an armor, right? This guy was fighting for it, right? So he went to some shit, right? That is emerging in 2026. You are emerging, we are emerging, you are emerging as the King of Pentacles. You're making that potential real. You have to put in the good work, right? You have to work for it. It's not that it's not just falling into your lap, right? But the way you work it is by just very practical things. You know, you have to show up and do the stuff that needs to be done. But apart from showing up and doing the stuff that needs to be done, working with the subconsciousness, working in the sense that you're releasing negative energy, negative emotional energy, breath work, right? Makes room to whatever frequency that Knight of Cups brings you, right? And then there might be, you might realize, I'm alive. Life can be good too, right? Because the script is going to flip, right? There's justice, and there are 2 cards. Let me just think about it. I think there are only 2 cards with scales in the tarot deck. So it's balanced out. 6 of Pentacles and the Justice card. This is the outcome for 2026. Justice. You see, when you get a blessing, we're living in duality, right? This is duality, right? You can rise to a Trinitarian consciousness, to Trinity consciousness, but usually, well, there are actually 3 kinds of people. This is the 2nd grade, so to speak, elementary school, so to speak, of consciousness, right? This incarnation, see it like that. And it's the 2nd grade, so it's all about duality. The people who are coming from 1st grade, they don't really get duality yet. They are just on a one-sided duality, right? They only see what is directly in front of them, right? They don't realize that there's an up and down swing, right? They don't realize it's a wave. They don't realize it's a duality. They just see the day, right? And they think, oh, it's an eternal day. Yeah, I like the day. And I hate the night, right? The night is bad. I hate the night. I just want the day, right? Because they just realize what is directly actually happening right here, right now. So they don't understand that you can't have a day without a night and you can't have a night without a day. But that's duality, right? That's how it works. What goes down goes up again, and what goes up goes down again. And if you, understand that there is no life without death, and there's no death without life. There's no day without night. There's no night without day. There's no good without evil. There's no evil without good, right? That's why it's so retarded that there are people who want to destroy what they think is evil, but if you destroy evil, you destroy the duality of good and evil and therefore negate the whole thing, right? So that's what they don't get. Why? Because they operate on a one-sided duality consciousness. Then there's the duality consciousness where you realize, oh, you can't have the day without the night. I understand that. Good and bad, day and night, these are dualities, right? Inside, outside, you can't, one is defined by the other. You can't negate one side of it. You can't just have an inside. An inside without the outside makes no sense, right? A day without an everlasting day it's not going to happen, right? You always have the night and the day and the day and the night. And the same is true with the blessing and the curse. So if you sold your soul to the devil or whatever, all right, many people did that. The narcissists certainly did that. The narcissistic people did that. You didn't. You went through the dark night of the soul, right? So blessing and curse, right? If you're really blessed, and you are blessed, by the way, in 2026, right? We had this with the Ten of Cups, with the King of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles. You are showing up as the wise man coming out of this old effed up circle, right? Looks pretty good. And I especially like this combination of the Six of Pentacles and the Justice card. Why? Blessing and curse. If you got the curse first, you get the blessing in 2026. If you exploited other people and you got a new Mercedes, right? Then you got the blessing first, so to speak, but you're going to pay for it. Then you get the curse later. Doesn't look like it, right? You went through the dark night. You took a beating. You are most likely, if you resonate with this channel, an empath, right? You have to release something. You have to heal yourself. You have to put yourself together. You have to put in some work to achieve that potential of wealth, abundance, and prosperity. You are wise enough to work with your subconsciousness, breath work, meditation, very important. If you just go for long walks, something like that. You need to do something to stabilize and heal your subconsciousness. Honestly, breath work is super transformative. Try that. Please do it and make sure that you breathe in 1 and breathe out 2. The out breath should always be 2 times longer than the in breath. Very important. Right? So what I'm trying to tell you is that you're getting the blessing, right? Because you got the curse most likely first, and now you get the blessing. Yes! There's the Fool card clarifying the Moon card, and you're beginning resetting your subconsciousness, basically. Whoops. Burped a little, sorry. Strength card, try not to force it, try not to, there's so much wealth, abundance, and prosperity. First of all, in potential, so there might be opportunities just to make money, to make something, to build something for yourself. Try not to force it, try not to it needs to, that's Pluto in Capricorn, right? Pluto in Capricorn, that is gone because now Pluto in Aquarius. Try not to go with the head against the wall and just Strengths card clarifying your potential here. Tame the lion, right? Do not fight the lion, tame the lion. And that also is an important message. So whenever you're dealing with narcissistic people, toxic people, people who actually got the blessing first and are now receiving the curse, you know, they will try to tell you, they may, you know, they may be the same people who kicked you in the years before, and now they're just, oh, I'm so sorry. And even if you encounter toxic people, don't take the bait. Don't even engage with them, right? The 5 of Pentacles, that's the dark night of the soul, with the 8 of Cups here, in 8 of Cups in the recent past or in the past energy. Something that you have to process, right? There's the 5 of Pentacles, and that's where I like to see the 5 of Pentacles, clarifying the World card. In your foundation, there's your dark night of the soul, because the 5 of Pentacles is, ouch, right? 6 of Pentacles clarified by the 4 of Pentacles. You held on to something that you had. Maybe it's time in 2026, maybe you get a chance to actually capitalize on what it is that you already had in the last circle, in the last 7 years, built for yourself, because you're turning into the King of Pentacles from the 4 of Pentacles, and that's your justice, or that's your exchange where you get something good out of that. Releasing negative energy, rediscovering your passion, the Queen of Wands, clarifying the 8 of Cups. You got the Queen of Wands again in the outside position. Again, you might rediscover that life is not just endurance, that life is not just, breathwork and, we're going to get this, and, no, there might actually be a little fire, a little spark, a little joy, a little happiness. You got the Knight of Cups, you got the Queen of Wands 2 times now. Just make sure that you are in control, mastership over your fire. So do not allow anybody to play you on, justice again, a second time. I like this. With the Page of Cups here. Make sure that you don't get swept away by passion. It might arise, right? But you don't allow anybody to manipulate you on passion. 8 of Wands energy, super supportive. You might have a chance to apply your wisdom, so very supportive energy here. The 4 of Cups with the Queen of Wands. I'm not really sure what this is about. Maybe a second clarifier. 4 of Wands with the 8 of Cups, and yay, that's a nice ending. Justice, and you got 2 times justice, right? Clarified by the 9 of Cups. The 9 of Cups guy is someone who is very proud of what he is doing, very proud of his talents, well dressed. He's not wearing a crown, but he's well dressed, divine humble pride in what it is that you're doing, rediscovering joy in what it is that you're doing. You got the 8 of Pentacles and 9 of Cups, which is always a nice frequency of just finding joy in what it is that you're doing, right? Yeah. Emperor at the bottom of the deck. Bottom of the big deck is the King of Pentacles. Underneath that, the 10 of Cups. Fortune after difficulty. Yeah. 2026 is a good year. It's going to be a good year. Again, you have to work with your subconsciousness. Oro Maces number 43, and 43 is already a great number. Blue Angel Oracle deck. Purification. Many unexpressed thoughts and emotions stored across time remain locked inside you. That's trauma, right? Disappointments, fear, worry, and feelings of inadequacy and guilt, I might add fear and shame too. Nothing serious, just remnants of life's experiences. That's one way to put it, right? So a lot of shit is in your subconsciousness. Guilt, fear, shame, worries, overthinking, hatred even. You can think and feel whatever you feel. You can't really... I'm not preaching toxic positivity here. What I'm saying is that you take responsibility, not necessarily for what you're feeling. You're just feeling what you're feeling. But do you nurture these feelings, or do you transform these feelings and deliberately transform the frequency of your subconsciousness? Meditation, breathwork, going for long walks, doing sports, yoga, fitness, whatever, right? Many unexpressed thoughts and emotions stored across time remain locked inside you. Disappointments, fear, worry, and feelings of inadequacy and guilt. Nothing serious, just remnants of life experiences. It is the moment to release these emotions and purify your thoughts. There's no need to analyze and relive the past. No need to analyze or relive the past, you know? If you're dwelling on negative emotions, you're going to amplify them. And if you know that and really take that as a given and act accordingly, that's the wise man, that's the Hierophant, learned that lesson. It's of no use, you know? Crying about spilled milk. You're going to cry about spilled milk just by processing it. But it is a conscious decision, and it's a sign of emotional, spiritual, intuitive mastership, Hierophant, to do something, work with your subconscious frequency. Meditation, breathwork, I say it again and again. There's no need to analyze and relive the past. Acknowledge that you have emotional debris that you would like to clear. Then imagine a brilliant flame of light transforming and purifying you. Feel yourself being cleansed and healed. Feel the freedom that purification brings. Feel the peace, joy, and love. And whether you visualize something, whether it's just meditation, whether it's visualization, try the breathwork thing. Honestly, much better, much more effective than visualization, which is also fine and wonderful. You can do that too, but that's a little more advanced, I would say. Breathwork, if you have to release something, if you're a decent human being, there's a lot to release, right? No dark imaginings. No dark imaginings. I lay this to the Hierophant. Yeah, no dark imaginings. Those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. That's Voltaire. And you might have met a few people who try to make you believe absurdities. Mindfuck energy, right? That's how they do it, right? Lowering your frequency into guilt, fear, shame, hatred. That's the ultimate goal. And then you can be easily manipulated and exploited. Those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. That's what the fascists always did, right? Let's just do one more quote. Oh yeah, that's a Baldwin, James Baldwin. I love it. I love it because I'm freaking gay, right? And it took me, that's James Baldwin here, it took me many years of vomiting up all the filth I'd been taught about myself and half believed before I was able to walk on this earth as though I had a right to be here. I say this again. It took me many years of vomiting up all the filth I'd been taught about myself and half believed before I was able to walk on this earth as though I had a right to be here. James Baldwin. Love it. In 2026, you're going to have to vomit up a lot of filth that you have taken, that a lot of people, all the frequencies, all the spirits, whatever you want to call it, have spoon-fed us, all of us actually, in the last few years. Not just the last few years, but it's really, it's a paradigmatic shift, actually. It's a complete different thing, frequency-wise, right? So in 2026, it's a lot of healing to do. Two cards flew out. I'm going to talk about this, the animal spiritual deck. Vomit up all the filth that you have been taken in the last few years. Vomit it up. And how do you vomit it up? Like a hierophant? And at the end of it, you're really pushing it out, right? You're till you can't anymore. And then 1 in, 2 hours. And you do that for 15 minutes. And it unmind fucks you like nothing else. 2 angel, no, it's not, that's the animal spirit oracle, whatever. Vulture spirit, nothing is wasted. Even all the filth that you had to swallow is not wasted because you learned something. Yeah, I know. But that's, you have to kind of make the best out of it, right? And buffalo spirit, which is really beautiful. The abundant universe will provide. That's nice to hear. So you have to do some work. You have to heal yourself. You have to protect yourself. You have to lift yourself up again. You have to release all the negative emotions. You have to finally end this old chapter. Heal yourself. Work on what you want to create. Focus your attention on what you want to create. There's so many blessings, so many support from the universe. There is justice coming in. And the greatest justice is not revenge, but you rediscovering joy and happiness and passion in what it is that you're doing. And there's big support here for Pentacles to the King of Pentacles. It's going to be a good year. And just know that and trust on it, and breathwork. Meditation and breathwork. That's my big advice. And that's all I got. And I hope it resonates with you. If it does, share, like, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you think about it. And hopefully see you next time. Now, goodbye, my friend. Ciao.